All right, so I am doing the book Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. Everyone knows it. A lot of us have it memorized. It was one of my favorite books when I was a kid. It's one of my favorite books to read to children. And it was one of my son's favorite books. It's just silly. I know it sounds like I'm kind of taking the easy way out in this by picking this book, but it's just such a good book that it automatically made my list when we started making our browsing list, and so I just kind of went with it and ran with it. Um, Obviously, elementary level, um, K through second. Do not believe I would go over third grade with it. It is. You possibly could, but I'd keep it in the second grade level. I think that's actually like the Lexile level of it and everything as well, especially if you're reading it aloud. You should always go two grade levels above whatever you read to kids. So my catch is, what if you didn't like a certain food? What if you had a friend who constantly asked you to try that food in different strange situations and hoping that you would change your mind? Will the stranger convince our main character? I don't know. So that's almost the summary as well, as everyone knows. So the protagonist in this story is constantly bombarded with the same question from Sam I Am, a silly, energetic fellow. Like, if you can remember, Sam I Am runs past the main character, who we never actually get to know his name, and I never really equated that until I started looking into this, and I was like, oh man, I guess it doesn't tell us his name. But you see him running across, and he's like bounced on a ball, carrying green eggs and ham, running around all crazy. So he's got lots of energy. And the main character even says, Sam I Am, Sam I Am, I do not like that Sam I Am, So he's already not on the best terms with the main character. So Sam I Am asked him, uh, do you like green eggs and ham? And we all know the famous line, I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I Am. And then Sam I Am continues to go down a myriad of crazy, increasingly crazy situations that just keep getting stranger and stranger and stranger, in hopes that he tries this already kind of strange food. They're in a box, with a fox. And Dr. Seuss does a great job of using all these silly, crazy things to get the most out of his rhyming. He was just so talented at that. And then we all know at the end of it, he, finally takes a little bite and then talks about how he would try them in a box with a fox, on a boat, on a train with a goat. And it keeps on going back over everything that he's asked him. He's already said, no, I won't do them, but he actually likes green eggs and ham. As I stated earlier, K through second is where I believe this would be most effective. So I think at this grade level, especially in kindergarten, you're really working on rhyme schemes. And I think that is also part of the standards. So you could really use any Dr. Seuss really to kind of pound home those standards. So you could ask the kid, what do you think about the cover of the book? Because they always have the greatest artwork on them. What do you think, now that you know the title of the book, what do you think the book's about? And you can have a discussion about that before you read the book. You can also talk to the kids about how some of these situations may not be ultimately realistic. And then after reading, you can say, what did we learn from the story? Hopefully somebody will say, to try new things. We learned about friends. And then you can go down and start talking about that. Why is it important that we try new things? If we never try new things, we never grow. Why should we trust our friends? Well, sometimes our friends tell us to try things that are really good. Is it always a good idea to continuously ask our friends something? Also, we should probably go back shouldn't always trust our friends 100%, but it'd be a good time to have that conversation with your students. And so it's a good idea to continuously ask our friends for something. Probably not always, but this time it kind of worked out for Sam I Am because Sam I Am is, well, he's Sam I Am. So, what are some rhymes that you remember from the story? And then you could really talk about these rhyming words and why they are the root of them and how they how those onsets and the rhyme change. So, another thing you could do. So the activity in classroom you could do is you could give the class. I don't know if you know this. There's like 50 words in Green Eggs and Ham. I think someone challenged Dr. Seuss actually to write the book using only a certain amount of words, and he did it. So there's 50 words in there. You could give them that word bank. You could cut it down, obviously, if you wanted to, or you can just put these words up. If you're in kindergarten, you may not want them writing the sentences, but they could come up and create 3 sentences in their head or 2 sentences in their head, however you wanted to accommodate these kids. You know, you could modify this assignment endlessly to suit your needs. One that I liked, and it's always something that we used to do in school, but I think it would be cool, and you could add like a small caveat as your in-home activity. You could say, hey, have your parents help you create the recipe below, and below I put a link for the green eggs and ham. And the thing I liked about this recipe is it looked pretty similar to the book. When it was finished, had the green yolks and the white egg whites, and the actual ham was green. And why is it important to try new things? Or you can have the kids, take a video of them trying the green eggs and ham. Kids don't always want to try it, unless you want to eat everything in the world like I did when I was a kid. And then you can ask them in the video, hey, why you want to do that? Why is it important we try new things, and take a video of them trying it, and then you could put it in a Dropbox or something to send to the teacher. That's my presentation of Green Eggs and Ham. Ignore the Hobbit whole thing. I was working on something else.